Hi, welcome to today's On This Day in Tudor History with me, Claire Ridgway, author of On This Day in Tudor History. Now, taking you back to Queen Elizabeth I's reign today, for on this day in Tudor history, the 8th of September 1560, Amy Dudley, née Robsart, wife of Robert Dudley, Earl of Leicester, died at her rented home, Cumnor Place, in Oxfordshire. Amy and Dudley had been married since the 4th of June 1550, and William Cecil had described their marriage as a carnal marriage, i.e. a love match rather than an arranged marriage. The marriage, though, wouldn't be the easiest of relationships. Just 3 years into it, Dudley was imprisoned in the Tower of London for his involvement in the brief reign of his sister-in-law, Lady Jane Grey, or Queen Jane. Amy was allowed to visit him, but he was imprisoned until October 1554. When he was released, the couple's financial position was precarious and they ended up having to go to their families for help. Amy and Dudley were again parted in 1557, when Dudley went to fight for King Philip of Spain in France. In the summer of 1558, they were looking for a home together in Norfolk, but events soon conspired against them again. In November 1558, Queen Mary I died, and Elizabeth I, Dudley's childhood friend, became Queen of England. Elizabeth soon rewarded Dudley for his friendship and support by making him her Master of the Horse. This role required him to be at court and to spend most of his time with the Queen and away from Amy. Just 5 months later, ambassadors and diplomats were repeating the gossip that the Queen was in love with Dudley and that they were planning to marry after Amy's death. It was said that Amy had some kind of malady in one of her breasts, perhaps breast cancer. Although Amy's health had improved enough for her to visit London in May 1559, she never saw her husband again. On the 8th of September 1560, Amy's servants found her body at the bottom of the stairs when they returned from Our Lady's Fair at Abingdon. It appeared that Amy had fallen down the stairs. At the inquest into Amy's death, the coroner ruled that her death was the result of misfortune, an accident. But there's still controversy today over Amy's death. The theories include accident. Professor Ian Aird, 1956, suggests that Amy's death could have been an accident caused by a spontaneous fracture of the vertebrae as she walked down the stairs. Professor Aird based this theory on the fact that breast cancer, which sources suggest that Amy was suffering from, can cause a weakening of the bones. Another theory is suicide. On the day of her death, Amy ordered all of her servants out of the house, giving them permission to go to the fair for the day. When some of them protested that it was not fitting to go to a fair on a Sunday, Amy was said to have been quite sharp with them, asking them to obey her orders. Mrs. Oddingsells refused to go, much to Amy's displeasure, but then eventually did retire to her room, leaving Amy alone. Did Amy arrange to be alone so that she could commit suicide? After all, she was said to be very depressed. Amy's maid said that she wondered if Amy might have an evil toy in her mind. In other words, suicide. Another theory is murder. Some sources believe that Amy's husband, Robert Dudley, arranged her murder so that he could be free to marry Elizabeth I. And others believe that William Cecil orchestrated the murder to blacken Dudley's name and to prevent him from marrying Elizabeth. Then there's an aortic aneurysm, a modern theory that Amy was killed by the terminal enlargement of one of the arteries from the heart. Symptoms of this include depression, fits of anger, mental aberrations, and pain and swelling in the chest. In 2008, historian Stephen Gunn found the coroner's report in the National Archives while searching through 16th century accident records. According to this report, Amy had fallen down the stairs and sustained 2 head injuries, one 1/4 of a thumb deep and the other 2 thumbs deep, and that she'd also broken her neck in the fall, dying instantly. Chris Skidmore, in his book Death and the Virgin, used this report to suggest that Amy's death could not be accidental and that Dudley may have had his wife murdered. However, in her book, Amy Robsart, A Life and Its End, Christine Hartweg successfully challenges this view, pointing out, amongst other factors, that Dudley's fellow courtiers and statesmen did not believe him to be guilty, that he wouldn't have been stupid enough to do something that laid him open to scandal, a scandal that wrecked his chances of ever marrying the Queen, never mind one that could have brought him down completely and seen him executed. And Dudley also kept in touch with Thomas Blunt, his steward and cousin, regarding his wife's death and the investigation into it. And his letters show just how important it was to him for his wife's death to be investigated properly. Dudley also wanted to ensure that Amy's body was examined and searched by the jury. Now, those don't seem like the actions of a guilty man. It is impossible to know what happened to Amy on that fateful day, but to me, an accident or suicide are the most logical conclusions. I would urge you to read Christine Hartweg's book for a detailed examination of all of these theories, as well as an examination of all of the contemporary sources. Amy was buried in the chancel of St Mary's Church, Oxford, but her grave has been lost. A memorial tile, however, pays tribute to her. In a vault of brick at the upper end of this choir was buried Amy Robsart on Sunday, the 22nd of September, AD 1560. So there you go, an On This Day in Tudor History event, which is a little bit mysterious with lots of theories on it. Now, you can subscribe to this channel by clicking round about there. You can hit the bell to be notified as videos go live, and please do give this video a like as well. I really appreciate you following me. I'll be back tomorrow with another event for you. See you then. Bye bye.